21st century, a wasteland of nonstop entertainment and an oversaturation of rebooted propaganda and basic Hollywood agenda pushing. A retelling of the same stories with only minute changes to distinguish itself from the much older source material. If you're like me, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s as a kid, there were always stories I heard about that I genuinely believed to be true. Some stories seem silly as I look back, but others seem to leave more of a sinister feeling. However, these are three urban legends that traumatized me as a child. One rainy, random night, a young woman, alone with her dog, smart, strong, self sufficient, she doesn't even flinch when an alert on her phone informs her that a serial killer has escaped from a nearby prison. With her dog by her side, she surveys the house, locks the doors, and curls up next to her dog as she reads a book and drifts off to sleep. The girl awakens. She hears a distant dripping sound. Half awake, she checks the kitchen faucets, but gives up and returns to bed. She receives a lick on her hand from her loyal companion and comfort. You see, this lady and her dog had a sort of ritual, a tick, if you will. She would always lick her fingers in the middle of the night, no matter what. Again, she's roused from slumber by the drip, drip, drip. She feels the reassuring lick and falls back asleep, but the third time, the dripping is constant. She hops out of bed, determined to locate the source of the noise, and heads for the bathroom. When she flips on the light, the scene that she sees is the worst thing she could possibly imagine. Her beloved dog, decapitated, hanging from the tub, blood written on the walls on the back of the dog, saying, "Humans can lick too." Now, growing up, when I first heard this story, I was skeptical. I was searching the web at this time, so me hearing this initially, I didn't believe it. This is why this story is making number 3 on my list. But when I first heard it, before I did my own research, it definitely had an effect on me, at least in my nightmares. A woman from La Meja, California, went to Tijuana, Mexico to do some shopping. As any visitor to this border town knows, the streets near the shopping areas are populated with stray dogs. The woman took pity on one little stray and offered it a few bites of her lunch, after which it followed her around the rest of the afternoon. When it came time to return home, the woman had become so attached to her little friend that she couldn't bear to leave him behind. Knowing that it was illegal to bring a dog across the international border, she hid him among the packages on the seat of her car and managed to pass through the border checkpoint without incident. After arriving home, she gave the dog a bath, brushed his fur, then retired for the night where her newfound pet curled up at the foot of her bed. When she awoke the next morning, the woman noticed that there was an oozing mucus around the dog's eyes and a slight foaming at the mouth. Afraid that the dog might be sick, she rushed him to the nearby vet and returned home to await word on her pet's condition. The call soon came. "I have just one word, one question," said the vet. "Where did you get this dog?" The woman didn't want to get into trouble, so she told the vet that she had found the dog running loose in the street near her home in La Mesa. but the vet didn't buy it. You did not find the dog in La Mesa. Where did you get the dog? The woman nervously admitted having brought the dog across the border from Tijuana. But tell me, doctor, she said, what is wrong with my dog? His reply was brief and to the point. First of all, it's not a dog. It's a Mexican sewer rat. And second, it's dying. Now, when I first heard this story, it really pretty much gave me nightmares for the next, I would say, 2 to 4 years. Something about a rodent being that size, I guess, is just nightmare fuel. And as I get older and I figure out more about the world, and I know that they have rodents that are just way bigger than that. As a kid, a rodent being the size of a dog, a rodent being the size of anything bigger than what I thought was inadequate. It was just horror for me. Luckily, I'm over that, but I have new horrors to face. A few years ago, there was a wealthy couple who had two young children, a boy and a girl. The family lived in a large house in Newport Beach, California. After taking care of their kids all week, the mother and father decided that they needed a break, so they booked a table for dinner at a nice restaurant. That evening, they called a teenage girl they knew and arranged for her to come over and babysit their children while they were out. When the babysitter arrived, the parents told her to fix supper for the kids and put them to bed. After that, you can watch TV and help yourself to anything in the fridge, said the father. And if you wouldn't mind, said the mother, you can watch TV in our bedroom. The kids have been having nightmares recently, so if you hear them crying, you can just go in and calm them down. The babysitter happily agreed, and the parents left for their dinner date. The girl gave the children some milk and cookies, then ushered them upstairs to bed. She started to read them a bedtime story, and before long, the little boy and girl were fast asleep. After tucking them in, she switched off the lights and went to watch TV. When the babysitter walked into the pair's bedroom and sat down, she noticed that there was a creepy looking clown statue standing in the corner of the room. She tried to ignore it, but it looked so eerie and disturbing that it sent a chill down her spine. She felt as though its eyes were staring straight at her while she watched TV. As time passed, the babysitter started to feel more and more uneasy about the clown statue. Whenever she glanced at it, she got the unsettling feeling that it had moved, ever so slightly. Finally, the clown statue began to freak her out so much that she couldn't handle it any longer. She decided to go downstairs and phone the parents. When she dialed the number they had left for her, the mother answered. Hi, it's me, said the babysitter. Everything's fine. The kids are fast asleep in bed. But I was just wondering, would it be okay if I watched TV downstairs? Of course, replied the father. But why? I know it sounds silly, laughed the girl, but the clown statue is really creeping me out. The clown statue? Asked the father. Yeah, the clown statue in your bedroom, the girl replied. The phone went silent for a moment. Listen to me very carefully, said the father. Take the children and get out of the house. Call the police. Go, now. The father gulped. What's wrong? Asked the girl. The father replied, We don't have a clown statue. For a second, the babysitter just stood there, stunned. Then she dropped the phone and raced downstairs and grabbed the children, carrying one under each arm. She raced downstairs again and fled out into the street. Huddled on the sidewalk, comforting the two children, the babysitter looked up at the bedroom window and saw something that made her scream out in horror. Peeking through a gap in the curtains was the white painted face of a clown. It stared at her for a moment, then sank back into the darkness. Within minutes, the police arrived and cautiously entered the house. In the upstairs bedroom, they found a man dressed in a clown suit. When they arrested him, they found a knife concealed in his costume. The clown turned out to be a mentally disturbed, small person who was convicted murderer and cold-blooded killer. The evil man had been stalking the family for months, lurking in their attic during the daytime and coming out to sneak around the house at night. For weeks, the children had been complaining about a clown statue that stood in their room and watched them sleep, but the parents just dismissed this as nightmares. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Salute.